Hello, this is Kylie from Hello Crafter, and in this video I'm going to share with you how I created this rather special card using the Let's Go Shopping bundle, the stamp set and the dies from Stampin' Up. And it is a special card because it lights up. So we've got little LED lights that light up the windows when we press this little sign here. So it's easier than it looks to make once you know how. You can maybe adapt this technique for lots of other cards. I'm thinking Christmas in particular. I will be creating some more light up cards for the festive season, so look out for those. So I'm going to be showing you exactly how I did this, what materials I used, etc. And I'm also going to tell you how you can get this kit to make this card for free with an order in my online store between now and the end of September. So I will be sending out some of these kits for free. So you'll have all the bits ready to make this card yourself. So in the meantime though, I'm going to go through all the bits and pieces that we need. These are the materials that we need to make this card. I've got a 14.5 centimetre square card base that I've created from a piece of cardstock that I've cut down to 29 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres, then scored and folded it in half at 14.5 centimetres. And then I have a matting layer to go on. Now, if you've received a kit from me through the post, then this colour is white, because I don't know what colours that you're going to be using to colour in your card. I've used Tahitian Tide because I've used Tahitian Tide to colour my shop front. This is 14 centimetres square, 14 by 14, and it will just go as a coloured layer in the background. So depending on what colour you're colouring your shop, then you might want to pull a piece of cardstock from your stash that coordinates with that and create your own square background. Then we have two pieces of white cardstock square, and these are 13.5 by 13.5 centimetres, both of them. We have a piece of vellum. This is about 9.5 centimetres square. Then we have some little scraps of coloured cardstock to do some die cutting, and this one just a scrap for any stamping that we want to do to cut out, so the little plant pots or the shop sign, the little A-board sign, anything like that. So that's just for that. So to create the light up effect, you need these little LED light stickers. I'll put a link to purchase those in the description of the video. I like these because they're really easy to use, because they're self-adhesive and they're really tiny light, so you can see it's the little yellow thing in the middle that is the light itself. You need some copper tape. Again, you can purchase that in a kit form with the lights. And then your battery. This is just a standard 3-volt battery. Look out for CR2032 batteries. You can get them anywhere. You'll also need a Memento black ink pad. A Stays On ink pad is optional. I've got balmy blue and lemon lime twist, so a blue and a green for some optional blending for your background. And then to colour in my shop, I'm using the Stampin' blends. So starting with one of your smaller white squares, we're going to stamp our shop front onto this. So I'm going to have a top floor on my shop, so I need to stamp the main part of the shop building just a bit lower than the centre. I'm using Memento black ink, and I'm just going to stamp it in just like that, and then my top floor can go on top like so. And then we also need to stamp onto the vellum. Now you can use Memento, but you'll need to leave it to dry, or very carefully dry it with a heat tool. But just for speed, I'm going to use my Stays On ink, and I'm going to do the same again in the centre. It doesn't matter if I've missed a couple of the window frame, because it's only really the door that I need and to be able to line up my lights. So it have missed a little bit there, but it doesn't matter because it's going to go behind. So it's the lights really that I need to be visible. So I've put my little lamps in the windows there. So really all that will be seen are the lamps and the little shop sign. That's all I really need visible. I'm going to cut the windows and the door out now from this piece. I've just used a tiny bit of washi tape just to hold those dies down before I run them through so they don't move. I just realised I forgot to add my little tables and chairs into the window of that one, so I'll just get that done. And now we're going to add some colour to this, so I'm going to colour in this shop front, and then on this one I'm going to turn it over. You don't have to do that if you've used Memento ink. And then I'm going to colour on the reverse side just the table and chairs and the lamps. And I think I'd like another lamp just there because that's where my light is going to show through. So I'm just taking my stamp, it's clean, and I'm going to ink up just the end lamp, just one lamp, and stamp that right in the centre, just there, of that window. And I've just realised that I've done it on the wrong side, so it doesn't matter, I'll just flip it over and colour in that way. The reason I'm colouring on the reverse side of where I've stamped is because Stays On ink is alcohol based and so are the markers, so I didn't want to smudge the lines. So an optional thing you can do with this once you've coloured it in is use some masking paper to mask over and get some blending brushes and make some colour in the background. So so that it's not plain white, you can get some colour in the foreground on the floor and in the sky. So I've given you some masking paper. This is just Stampin' Up masking paper. Find where it peels off the back. That's the back of the masking paper. So you need to stamp on the front. So you can just use Memento, you don't need a lot of ink because it's just you're going to be cutting it out. So and then that just to create a mask, we're just going to cut this out and just go right up to the line, don't leave any white space. And then peel off the backing, and it's quite sticky, so I stick it on myself or on your clothes just to remove some of the tackiness. And now gently lay it over your stamp, but it might not be quite perfect because you've obviously had to line those two up, but that'll do. I've got Balmy Blue for the sky. So I'm just going to very, very lightly brush some colour over the shop, and I'm a little bit darker towards the shop, and then I'll just go a bit lighter around the edge just to get a little bit of colour. Don't need too much. And then I'm going to take the Lemon Lime Twist and just put kind of an indication of floor. So it just looks like, rather than the shop just floating in the middle of a white space, it's got something there to kind of ground it, I guess. Now when I peel off the shop sticker, and you can reuse this, so you can put it back in with your stamp set maybe, because then you can use that again. Next we want to take our second white square, which is the same size, line it up exactly, and this is where we want to mark where we're going to put our lights. So our lamps are in the windows here, so I'm going to put a little cross where I want my LED lights to be, like that. And this will show me where my lights will want to be, and then if I have a battery here which will act like a switch, then that's where I want my battery to be, just there. So before I do that step, I'm just going to glue my vellum onto the back. So I've already put glue on, I'm just lining up the pendants in the windows. Stick that on, that's secured down, and that bit's ready too. So we're going to be placing these LED stickers so that the light, so the bit in the centre, lined up with each cross that we've made. And there is a positive side and a negative side. The positive side is the flat end of the triangle, and the negative is the pointed end of the triangle. And this is important when we come to create our circuit and line it up with the battery, because there is a positive side of the battery, which is this top side, and a negative side, which is the reverse, the underneath of the battery. And when we create our circuit with our copper tape, everything needs to be connected. The positive side of the LED lights need to join up with the positive side of the battery, and then the negative side of the LED lights need to join up with the negative side of the battery. So there'll be two lines of copper tape, and each of the LED lights will be connected to both sides and then to the battery. So it's hard to explain until I draw it. So imagine these are the lights, so the negative side, so the underneath of the lights there, and then it can come round and line up with that light, and then down to connect with the battery there. And then the positive side of the lights can come round like this, down like that, join up with that light, and then come down here. And we need to create a switch, which I'll show you in a moment. The two lines of tape need to be no more than, I'd say, 1/2 centimetre apart, but they can't touch. So this is where you've just got to be a bit careful, but I've drawn the lines more or less where it's going to go. Let's sort out our switch first. So the battery will need to go in, a line of tape underneath the battery, and then the positive side touching the top of the battery. To create a switch for the battery to go in, cut a piece of white card that measures 2.5 centimetres by 5.5 centimetres, and then fold it over, but don't crease in the centre. And we're going to glue that down over that cross, just on one side. And that's where our battery is going to go. So now to build the circuit with the copper tape. So start off with a length of tape, and then peel off the backing and just peel a little bit off at a time. And I'm going to go from underneath that cross and go under each of the 3 crosses like that. And then to turn the corner, you fold it back in the direction you've just been in, so fold it back on itself, and then do a 45-degree fold to make a corner, like a mitered corner, and then go down. So same again this way, fold it back on itself, and then do a diagonal fold to go into the direction you want it to go. So I'm going to go just a little bit closer to that cross. And now one last turn back on itself and then down. And this just makes sure that the copper tape has contact with itself as well. There's no break at all. And then stick it down right into that switch bit, because the battery is going to make really good contact now with that negative side. And now for the positive side. So I really want it to be close but not touching. And you can join two separate bits of tape, no problem, as long as you get good contact. And now getting close. Now I'm going to go this side of the switch and then come over this to join. So going down towards this side of the switch. Going over the top of the switch. And then to this side of the switch. We cut that off there. And now the two separate lines of tape will come into contact with both sides of the battery. And now we can place our LED stickers on. So remember, this side is negative, this side is positive. So remember, the negative is the pointing end of the sticker. The LED light goes in between the two lines of tape, so the metal part of the sticker is touching the tape. Just test that as we go. That's looking all right. So this needs to be upside down because remember, this is the negative side. So the final LED is in, and we can test that they all light up okay when the battery makes contact with the tape. So that's pretty much it. Now we need to secure the battery in, and we're just going to use dimensionals, but we're going to do a double layer, a double height. So I'll just pop one in the corner there, and then stack another one on top. And we're not going to take the backing off this top one. We want that to be non-sticky. And then another one in this corner. Take the backing off the first one, but leave the backing on the top one. So that's not going to go anywhere there. And then we just need to arrange another couple. So we're not going to restrict our switch, but we're going to keep the battery in place. That's okay there. And another one just here. You should find that that's just enough to keep the switch apart when you're not pressing it. So now we just have to attach this on using this double layer of foam pads all the way around. So I've placed my double stacked dimensionals all over, just avoiding the central area where the windows are because I don't want any to show when the lights are on. And I've also put one right in the corner here. And I've taken off the backings, but I've just left the backings on these four surrounding the battery because I don't want this switch to stick down to anything. I just want it to be free. So I've taken the backing off this corner one just to secure my card front down. So I've taken all the backings off the rest of them. I'm just going to carefully now lay this over, lining up all four sides, just hovering it until I know that it's all square, and then pressing it down. So press it down gently, and the lights shouldn't come on until you press the button. You may find sometimes it flickers a little when you're handling the card, that's fine, but they shouldn't really be on once it's stuck down. If they are, it means that your copper wire is touching the battery, and you may need to raise it up a little bit more with an extra layer of dimensionals. It also depends on your foam pads. Your foam pads might be thinner than others, so it's an experiment really. So just give it a go and let me know if you have any problems with that. So once that's on, we can mount this onto our card base. You just take some glue to the back, carefully glue that down onto your matte layer. And then again, more glue to secure this down onto your card front. So I've die cut some bits and pieces. I die cut a label and then stamped a sentiment on it. I stamped some of the flowers and coloured them in and then die cut those out, and some of the vines and a little lamp. So you do whatever decorations you want to put on, and I like to put something over the switch so that I've got something to press. So that's going to be my little A-board sign. And then I just put a few little things on to give it some interest. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial and that it's given you some ideas of how you can use the LED lights in your cards. It's a really fun technique and it does create something really special to give to somebody. If you'd like to make this card for free, all you need to do is place an order in my online store between now and the end of September. It has to be £45 or more, and you need to use the host code that is given in the description of the video below. But as long as you do that before the end of September, I will send you the materials, so the LED lights, battery, copper tape, etc. And so you can make this card. You will need the Let's Go Shopping bundle, but you may have something else that you could actually adapt the design to work with something you already have. It's totally up to you. If you have any questions about the project, please let me know. In the meantime, happy crafting. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall hopefully see you soon.